Hello, everybody. This is Wanayran Alvarez Angerer from Moving Cultures, Women of the World Talking at Cultural Stopovers, transmitting from Bangkok, Thailand. At the moment, we are so happy to have with us a very exciting guest from Philippines, and his name is Paul Gayanilo. He is a clarinet player, a singer, piano teacher, a music teacher, and a mentor. This is a very complete personality we are having here today, promoting unity in diversity. And this is what Moving Cultures is about. We had before him two guests, Aki Yamaguchi from Japan, who is a cultural and entrepreneur, and also Cecilia Mauncho, who is a mentor, a singer, and also a community leader and pastor from Kenya, Swaziland. And now we move back to Asia with our guest. Welcome, Paul. How are you today?
So, hi everyone. I'm doing great, and I'm very pleased that I have been invited by Miss Wani. So, great to see you all. Hi,
Yeah.
Ami. Hi, Icy.
Thank you, thank you. So now we're going to the business. So I'm going to put the format in the speaker mode so people can see you at the moment you do your presentation. Who is Paul Gayanilo?
So, hi again. So, um, I am born in the Philippines, and a pure Filipino. My parents are both Filipinos, and just to give you a head start of my musical journey, right? Well, I guess it started when I was very young. I was singing high notes. Well, of course, that's what kids have, right? They have high ranges. Now, and I'm the youngest of our in our siblings, right? And I am also I I think the only musician in the family. So they say my parents said that I got this musicality from the grandmother of my grandmother. So it's way back in the family tree, right? So now going back to my musical journey about the age, I started singing when I was very young. And then I started being in an organization. We call it here in the Philippines Drum and Lyre Corps. Um, well, I played there the xylophone. You all know the xylophone, right? It's looked like at first, it looks like a piano. So you have there the two bars at the top, then three, then. And I think that's how I also got into piano playing. Well, let's not skip. So that was during my elementary years, my grade school years. So that's when I started being in an organization or a group of young players. So since then, I was very active in musical activities. So when I move up to high school or secondary education, um, I entered the school band. So, but I entered second year in my secondary education. It was second year high school here, and I started playing there the clarinet. Well, let's just say how did I come up with the clarinet, or how did the clarinet chose me, or did I choose the clarinet? Well, at first, I don't know what instrument are there in the cabinet, or that's where we put the instruments. And the band director just asked me, "What instrument will you be playing?" And I was like, I looked at his back there, looking or choosing what instrument to say because there are names of the instruments there. I see flute, clarinet. Then I just say clarinet. Then that's how I started with that instrument, and I really loved the instrument starting at that point, that very moment. Then I graduated that secondary education, and I moved up to tertiary, and I have and I but before that, before I graduated secondary education, I am really encouraged by my colleagues in the concert band that I should enroll when I will be in college. I'll enroll Bachelor of Music. So that's how I got into music also. So I entered the conservatory, and but this time when I entered the college the university band, by the way, I enrolled in Universidad de Santa Isabel. So that's the only university here in our region in the Philippines, the Bicol region, that offers music program, undergraduate, the Bachelor of Music. And I enrolled there, and my specialization, since I enrolled, was the piano. I don't know how I got into piano, but I think that was the most practical instrument if you are a musician. I don't know if Miss Ami agrees. So, uh, but, but actually, my first uh, what do you call this? I think of enrolling Bachelor of Music, specializing in the clarinet. But unfortunately, they do not offer that orchestral instrument. So, well, there's no teacher, let's say. So there are just limited teachers that will be able to teach these instruments. So what I chose is piano. So I was supposedly enrolling Bachelor of Music, major in piano, but again, there are just one or two, one or two students that will be enrolling in that program. So the secretary of the office of the music office told me to just if I want to shift to music education. So that's how I got into music education, because of course when we were young, we are just fond of saying, "Oh, oh, okay," like that. So you just say yes. So music education, and I I still chose the piano because I really love the piano. Because when I was in high school, I started learning the piano because I was in a band. So I started learning how to read the G clef, this stuff. Then I just need to learn how to read the bass clef, the notation there. So I was really challenged by that time. So I decided to go study that by myself, just uh, searching or browsing it on YouTube. That's what kids nowadays do. So I do that also back then. And I learned how to play piano. It's just that when I entered college or the conservatory, there are so many bad habits that I should correct. So I relearn, unlearn, then that's it. Bachelor of Music here lasts for 4 years, so you need to finish it 4 years. Then after I graduated, I was, let's say, I was absorbed by the university. Not for the sake that they need it, but I love it. I would love to teach in the same university and also to teach others. Because as musicians, it's not just about ourselves. So you really need to share it to others. And when it comes to performance, it's not just about entertaining people. So it's about sharing what the music is all about. Well, mostly, uh, most people see that music is just for entertainment. Well, let's just say that when performing, not just music. other kinds of arts. When performing, we all know that there are these concerts sometimes or activities that they have rates, well, tickets per se, and you generate income from that. And from that, musicians actually help other organizations, other people, those who are in need, to be in what do I say with this?
In a better
Well,
place.
yeah, in a well balanced
A
life,
better
right?
place.
Just good life. So that's actually the advocacy of most musicians, right? To help, or not just to entertain. That's actually part of it, but the main objective is to help and inspire people. No?
Yeah, Paul, it's very
Yes.
exciting, to hear from you how music has been moving around your life since childhood and how important the role of the family and the friends are in each person who decides to pursue a career as a musician, instrumental and also very important. Let's go back to your childhood when you mentioned that you might have been influenced by your grand or grandmother, who was a musical person. Do you remember something about her?
Actually, that was the
Your great
grandmother.
grandmother.
Ah, yeah, great grandmother. So I actually had no chance to meet her.
Mhm.
That was just being told to me that my great grandmother played the violin. So I have no idea about that. And they say she's very good. So
Musical.
yeah.
Okay. But let's try to remember also the history of your community. Is your community a musical community?
Based on my experience or uh, naturally in the Philippines is very artistic and very creative. They are fond of doing festivals, and within the festival activities, they have this band, marching bands. They do the we have here the fiesta. I think
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in
Mm-hmm.
South. I don't know where that is in America, Latin America. They also have those. Yeah.
Well, remember that you have also some Spanish background, so there's a lot of Spanish words in your vocabulary. So
Yeah.
fiesta is a way of community celebration. But let's talk specifically about your community, because I know Filipinas is extremely musical. People, they all sing, they all dance, and it's within your system, your DNA. So it's something organic. But let's talk, what do you remember about your musical environment as a child?
As a child, I remembered the church choirs
Mhm.
because of the mass celebrations here, Catholics. What else? Of course, the bands, marching bands, as I've told you about the fiesta, but not just with the marching, with the festivities. Sometimes it's also for the lament or for the solemn, yeah, for the dead. They play also. And what else? I, contest. I think there are singing contests and perform instrumental music also. They have these bands that been playing around there, here and there. So I think our community is very musical also when it comes to that. It's just that now, if I'm going to look into my community and looking into my goals or
Mhm.
objectives as a classical musician, when it comes to classical music, it's not that appreciated, I think, or not all people have the chance to hear those kinds of music. So I think in Thailand, if I'm not mistaken, it's also happening, right? The classical music's, yeah. and pop or other genres.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. There is every musical genre is connected to certain populations. So classical music is a very exclusive sector, and it doesn't mean that not everybody can have access to it, but the taste is developed within childhood. This is what I was asking you. That is so interesting to know that you are coming from a popular surrounding where you remember classical music in the choir, for example. So people goes to church, and sometimes they don't realize that the way you create a combination of voices and melodies is a classical concept, yeah, but it's also a tribal concept. Because if we start to understand the origin of sound, it comes from the communities. So now going back to your childhood, do you have any experience connecting to traditional music in your community when you were small?
When I was a small kid, I'm already living in a city,
And
so,
is no
and it's
any
not.
influence from traditional music on the city?
Based on my experience, I'm
Yeah,
not much exposed to that.
not much.
But of course, when I am being brought to the
Mhm,
province, or where my father is born, also, they
mhm.
also practices these dances
Uh-huh.
during let's say wedding celebrations. We have this
Yes.
the pantomina.
Mhm,
If you
mhm.
heard that, have, have you heard of that word? Or
Yes, a pantomima is like a mimo. Yeah. You
yes.
do gestures without talking. Yeah.
But with the pantomina, they also dance, and while dancing, people are pinning some money there.
Uh-huh.
Prosperity dance, rather.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
it.
what you
That's
remember.
why, yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah, but it's I'm putting a lot of attention into this in this conversation with you, because when we talk about unity and diversity and the power of music as a way to transform communities and create connections, sometimes when we go into a very exclusive style of music, we tend to forget, about the roots, about the origins, and about what is relevant for the community. And that also will give you more skills to translate your music as a classical musician for those ones who doesn't understand the classical music. What do you think about that?
I do agree with that. Like most of the people here in our region has those groups per se,
Mm-hmm.
and each group understands each other. But when they are being uh, together,
Uh-huh.
there are really some thoughts that other might agree with, others might not. And
Mm-hmm.
well, I think for me and this, that will be the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It will be the challenge for us to be one. Diversity, right? Unity, diversity, not just diversity in um, your lifestyle or your culture,
Mm-hmm.
but you just need to understand and respect what each other's preferences. And
Mm-hmm.
rather, in addition to that, it would be better if collaboration will happen, right? And I think that's need what needs to be done anywhere in the world that has those situations.
Yeah, and I think also the possibility to understand your origins that give you more sense of belonging, and that give you the opportunity to strengthen your identity, and also to be more inclusive. Have you challenged yourself, like creating a composition where traditional sounds or traditional influences have something to do with your composition at the classical level?
Personally, I am not into composition. composing much. I'm more performing. But when I am performing, I'm hearing this uh, concepts of these sounds that
Mhm.
also happens in this kind of music. And I think that's well, of course, I do some small compositions, small. I do short compositions, and I try to integrate those, let's say, ethnic sounds or traditional sounds, traditional structure of the music, the progression of the chords. That's what I try. Right?
Uh-huh.
But the what you're asking is if I do those traditional compositions.
No, very little, but it's actually your answer is
Uh,
perfect because every culture has a sound. Every community has a specific sound, and this is what I wanted to get into with you. So when you're singing, you will find sounds that belongs to different parts of the world, and then within your country, it's like the accents when you're speaking. Yeah. So, and I think it's great that you have actually applied the capacity to listen into the conversation. And this is what it makes possible for certain communities that don't have access to classical music, but they connect to the message. They connect to the sound that you are transferring through your interpretation. Do you feel comfortable with this capacity, to translate sounds into a message?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I would really love to translate everything so that people would understand. No, that's what should be
Okay.
done.
So tell me, how did you marry the singing, the clarinet, and the piano in your life? How do you make them, overlap?
Okay, that is oh, okay. So I started singing when I was a young, so I guess that was the first thing that I do in music. And then next would be clarinet, then piano. Well, I haven't told you guys though. I also played the saxophone when I entered the tertiary education or the college. So just to share. Then now how I manage those everything, including
Yes.
the teaching, right? Music teaching. We all need time management with that, and of course discipline. Now, if you are born with the singing talent, it would be an edge for you to, yeah, to 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 polish that in a not short time, but it will make it easier for you to manage it or to, I don't want to say less prioritize, but everything is a priority. So I just have this singing. How am I going to? Should I rank it? It's quite yeah. It's what they say that you know so much stuff, but you don't master one, or what do you call master of all trades or jack of all trades. They say, but you are actually not master in specific one thing. So I think that's a struggle. But what you're asking is how to manage it.
Yeah.
I just do it.
Because
Yeah.
because it's about combining, and overlapping. So you're gonna have certain times of your life that you might focus on one thing, and some other times on another thing, and sometimes they all will blend together at the same time. So that's actually
So I think for me, what I do there is I should we should know our roles that we will be partaking. So if you will be a pianist at this time, this very moment, then you need to be a pianist. But with while being a pianist, if you know this concepts about singing, and
mhm.
while during while playing the piano, and, well, let's say I'm accompanying or a collaborating pianist, collaborating pianist for a soprano or tenor or a singer, then of course I know how to sing. Then I should also know how it feels to be a singer while playing the piano. So I think that's what's how you kind of two in one, two in
Mhm.
one. Yeah. So same with the clarinet. If the clarinetist is there and I'm accompanying him or playing my part, then I should also learn how to adjust because I'm also a clarinetist. Then when it comes to practicing each instrument, that's a different topic, well, different matter. You really need to allot time. You need to schedule your day to play this instrument. At least you really need not to ignore this instrument for a day, because if you do that, they call it you will be rusty the next day.
Mhm.
So,
Paul, we are 8 minutes away from the end of this interview. Would you like to share some of your music with us?
oh, sure. So before I share the music, I'm just going to say something about it. So I will be showing you my arrangement of the piece Sarumbangi.
Mhm.
This is arranged for clarinet quartet. But about the piece, Sarumbangi is one of the most famous Filipino folk songs of the Philippines, composed
Mhm.
by Potenciano V. Gregorio. The title means one night. So Sarung Bangi, Sarung is one, then Bangi in our dialect or language, night. So one night or one evening. So our dialect or our language is Bicol, because we all know in the Philippines there are lots of languages and there are lots of dialects also. So this is a song actually, but I'm just going to give you a loose translation of the song. So the lyrics would be: one evening, as I lay on my bed, I heard the whistle of a bird. I thought I was dreaming that it was your voice. Now, this is kind of tricky because it seems like a metaphor, right? Well, one of the claims is that the lyrics of the song are a metaphorical communication of the desire for national freedom and sovereignty of the Philippines. Well, because we are colonized by the Spaniards back then. So that was the time also that this piece probably might is composed. So shall we get
Yes,
into the music?
let's go to it.
So I hope you enjoy our music.
Okay, bravo. Paul, so this is the end of the 30 minutes conversation with you. And it's been great to see at the end that everything we talk about it was a resume, you know, of talking about multicultural approach of music, you know, celebrating your origins and your history, and also sending a message of power. Please give us your last words. We have 1 minute for that.
So for everyone that is watching this meeting, I would like to give you an advice of promoting unity in diversity. Um, it doesn't need to be that you are in this group for you to be belong, but you just need to respect each other's perspectives, culture, and also understand. And if possible, please do engage with them with
Thank you, boys.
activities.
So we're all going to say goodbye to you. And it's been great to be celebrating unity and diversity with Paul Gayanilo from Philippines. So musical kisses to all, and please keep shining. We are getting ready for an interview with a guest from Kenya, who is a writer, a model, and entrepreneur. So see you.